Newsmax.com, Newsmax, the cutting-edge news website that uses that cutting edge constantly to cut into new ground. When you ask somebody when he was in the service, he says 1941, you say, uh-oh, he was at war. If he says, I was in 1946, then you know he was enjoying occupation duty in some place like Germany or Japan, England, or Okinawa. When somebody says he was in the service in the 1960s, early 70s, you say, uh-oh, he was in Vietnam. But by mid-70s, he was in the peacetime army. When you ask a Russian spy when he defected, and he says 1992, you figure, oh, well, the Cold War was over. Not so fast. Not so fast. This can only be radio. This can't be television because there's a price on Stan Lunev's head. Stan Lunev, colonel in the Russian intelligence setup, defected after the Cold War was allegedly over. Colonel Lunev, welcome to these proceedings. We cannot show your face, but we can certainly hear your voice and your message. When you defect, top Russian agent, you are debriefed by the CIA. Our listeners right now, it is as though you are sitting in a CIA briefing because you will hear exactly what the CIA and other American intelligence agencies have heard from Colonel Stan Lunev. First of all, again, welcome to America. I would have said welcome to the free world, but we thought we thought Russia was free in 1992.
Thank you, Barry. But you know, to operate information which we do have from liberal American press, it's not totally correct because Cold War, we need to understand what it's it. It was confrontation between two great military powers, and fortunately this confrontation doesn't exist in the same form which it existed for about 40 years. But look around. Instead of friendly Russia or some kind of mystical partner China, just now America is facing to strategic military alliance between so-called democratic Russia and totalitarian China. With tens of thousands of Russian nuclear warheads and actually unlimited number of Chinese ground forces, this alliance is much more dangerous than it been in time of, you already said, Cold War. Plus, just now Russia and China are very active in establishment of partnership, strategic cooperation with such countries like North Korea, Vietnam, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Cuba, actually Venezuela. And in the nearest time, if American politicians will not take some kind of appropriate policy according to this area, America will face to the coalition of powers extremely hostile to the United States and to the Western civilization.
The United States borders Canada, and there's all kind of cooperation between the United States and Canada. That doesn't threaten Russia or China. Now turn the page. China and Russia have a very long border. What evidence do we have that there's anything threatening to us going on between Russia and China?
First of all, American people are not informed that confrontation between former Soviet Union and China, which was based on ideological difficulties and differences between two communist parties, doesn't exist anymore. Yes, in 50s, in 60s, there have been several open military conflicts between two countries, but they were based on ideological differences between Communist Party of Soviet Union and Chinese Communist Party. After Communist Party in Russia was removed from power, there is no ideological problems. Moreover, these countries are developing very close economical, political and military cooperation during last 10 years. And until now they reach level of strategic military alliance, which could not be directed to nowhere. It would be directed against America and American friends and allies worldwide. And this is a real danger for the United States national security.
Is this your interpretation, or are you aware as a former Russian spy that there is a deliberate, premeditated, forward-moving, forward-marching attempt to take on the United States and destroy the United States?
Barry, you know how many billions of dollars America spent for the support of Russian democracy and free market economy. And of course, American people, American taxpayers, they are expecting something in return from Russia. But it's not point of view of Russian government. Because Russian government spent all this money received from the United States and from the West in total for their own purposes, deposited at private accounts in Western banks, and they try to explain Russian people why just now Russian people living so bad. And they repeat history just like that. They told to Russian people by Russian government propaganda, you know that from last month there is no anymore independent press in Russia. Everything is under control of government. And they telling to Russian people that they are living so bad not because of corrupted government, but because of foreign enemy. Russian propaganda tried to deliver to Russian people idea that this foreign enemy, which already destroyed former Soviet Union, destroyed Yugoslavia, organize separatist tension in Russian Northern Caucasus, and the next step, this foreign enemy would like to destroy Mother Russia itself. They fixed their fingers at the United States and American friends and allies, first of all by NATO organization.
All right, here you are, Stan Lunev. By the way, was it a difficult decision to defect, or did you intend to defect as soon as you saw your opening, and bang, the opening came in 1992?
It was very difficult decision. It was very difficult decision. And of course, it was not like just like that. But because you know my biography, that when I was young, I been a student of the law school of Military Political Academy in Moscow. And I, like other students of this academy, had a privilege to work in the archives of Soviet Communist Party. And when I worked in these archives over my dissertation, I found out that very well-known leaders of international communism and socialism, they were actually insane. They were not normal people. I saw a lot of papers with their handwritten notes when Lenin, Stalin, Zinoviev, Kamenev, Trotsky, they sacrificed millions of Russian people for mystical, ideological, which could not be realized ideas. And after this, I didn't work for any kind of ideology. I worked for my country only, until I came to the United States, where I found for myself that Soviet propaganda lied to me, to other Soviet people about America, American way of life, American society, about everything. So I changed my mind. Of course, not in 1 day, in 2 days, but in some time, my mind was dramatically changed.
What are the 5 most important things that you had to tell, not just the CIA, but now the American people, about your experience? So let's do this like a newsroom, which I'm sure would please the CIA if they had it laid out for them. The 5 most important messages that Stan Lunev, Russian spy, now on our side, brings to the American people.
Barry, I would like a little bit continue previous question and answer, because when I came to America, I remember this date. It was August 18, 1988, when I fly by Aeroflot flight from Newfoundland to Washington, D.C., and Soviet propaganda explained to me and to other Soviet people that they explain us that in the United States only few people living very good life, and other people are living very bad and need to work very hard to support these rich people to become more and more rich. And when I fly from Newfoundland to Washington, I found that a lot of lights are coming from the ground, a lot of light. And I asked my neighbor, please put yourself in my place. American people living very bad, they need to work very hard, they need to save everything. So my question was, is it reflection lights from solar battery or something like this one? And for my surprise, my neighbor who fly here several times, he told me, no, it's not solar batteries, they are swimming pools. If you can see thousands of swimming pools only from one window of one airplane, so American people are not living so bad like Soviet propaganda told us. And it was some kind of eye-opener that in the United States really there is a limited number of very rich people, there is a number of people who are living very bad, but between them there is huge middle class which live in this country, how to say it, not bad. And I would like to say that major treasure of America is its middle class. And this middle class need to understand that as a base or fortress for the Western democracy, this class has to be as a developed, as a very important and valuable for the future. And of course, just now is very big point, national security of this country. You know what's happened in this system during the last 8 years. It's not totally destroyed, but a lot of problems. Just now is very good time try to rebuild this security.
You mean the 8 years of the Clinton administration?
Yes, of course, it's very well known. It's necessary to rebuild American national security, to rebuild American armed forces. Actually, is necessary to open eyes for all people about what's really going on between American politicians, whom they can believe, whom they cannot believe, especially for their own future development. And of course, to continue some kind of wishes for American people, for me is sometimes it's extremely difficult to speak about future of these great people, because I am not so long time belong to American society. But America is a great country, and American people is the greatest people in the world.
I'm a little bit surprised to hear you talk about how Soviet propaganda worked on you. I thought Soviet propaganda was for the little people on the collective farms in Krivoy Rog and Veliki Luki. You were the highest ranking spy ever to defect. I thought they let you know the real score and didn't try to give you Soviet propaganda.
Very unfortunately, in former Soviet Union, everything was under influence of government propaganda. And of course, when my former associates like me were informed about real digits according to American economy development, American military machine, everything was explained by propaganda that America is a leader of international imperialism, exploiting its own people and other countries, especially to become more rich for people who are in limited number of extremely rich people. So everything was under influence and propaganda, and everything was explained by Communist Party according its Communist Party doctrine.
The gardener comes to visit you, he knows what he has to do, mow the lawn, prune the flowers. The electrician comes, he knows what he has to do, check your wiring. What does a spy do? Did you land and then go right to the Soviet embassy in Washington?
No. It's a very big difference, because spies, real spies in this country, they authorized by Russian government for the recruitment of people who having access to the secrets of the United States of America, especially to use the secrets in the war preparations against America. But it's not limited only by spy business, because my former agency is working like a great system. Space satellites, more than 100 space satellites, are snaking all over the United States all over the year. In the same way as all our American friends and allies trying to penetrate through so-called electronic secrets of America and American friends. They are supported by Navy intelligence and reconnaissance. You know how many Russian so-called scientific ships just now are snaking around American coasts and following American submarines. And if you remember, about 3 years ago, American pilot was blind by laser radiation or laser weapon fired from this scientific so-called ship. And Navy and Air Force intelligence and reconnaissance, huge radio and radio technical intelligence stations worldwide are working together to penetrate through American secrets, because America is a recognized leader in the world for the development of new technologies and all areas connected with military research and development.
Right. You were over here when the Soviet Union disappeared. You were already here. What kind of word did you get from home? Hey, we're not communists anymore. Come back and choose a new profession. Or did they say, look, we're going to pretend we're not what we were, but stay right where you are and keep on spying?
Well, it's exactly question I asked my field office chief after disintegration of former Soviet Union. When American military cargo planes deliver humanitarian aid to Russia, to support Russian people, to feed Russian people. By the way, from that time, the most favorite food for ordinary Russians is bush legs. Bush President Bush and legs, chicken legs, delivered by American military especially to help Russians in a very difficult winter of 1991 and 92. And at the same time, when America began to supply money and other help and assistance, I myself asked my field office chief why we continue this spy business. And he told me that he himself would like to send special letter to my former agency leaders and request them to change our activity against America, to make it not so hostile like before, but to make it more friendly, like friendly countries are spying against America. And he sent this letter to Moscow. And in few days we received strong message signed by my former agency director general, who said us, by other words, shut your mouths and continue and increase spy activity against America, but make it much more covert and vigilant. This is an answer. And about few weeks later, we received message from former Russian President Yeltsin, who requested my former agency and KGB, that time it was renamed as SVR, to increase our spy activity against America, and request for all Russian embassies in every country to support intelligence agencies in their penetration through American secrets.